Santos puts it up and through. It's now 29 in a row for Santos.
Mike Hawkinson and Swift to this backside. Straight ahead, looking for the end zone. Touchdown, DeAndre Swift.
Madison in motion, fake the give. Cousins throws for the end zone. It's Jefferson who's got the touchdown.
Jorquez to hold it. Crosby to try to win it. And the kick is good to win the game.
Pylon listeners, we are back reacting to everything that happened in week 3, and it was a wild week 3 for some good if you're the Packers, and the bad if you're or Packers and Vikings, and bad if you're the Bears and Lions. Let's get into all that, but before we do, the Pylon crew. So I'm Big G representing the Detroit Lions. Let's get to the rest of them. We got Remy representing the Vikings.
Minnesota, stand up. First dub of many. Skull Vikes. Great to be back, gentlemen.
Then we got Kinger representing the Packers.
As always, gentlemen, great to be back. It's like a shot of adrenaline recording with you guys tonight. You do not leave Aaron Rodgers with time on the clock. He will make you pay. Huge win for Green Bay tonight.
And then last but not least, Barney representing the Bears.
And an absolutely pitiful performance by the Bears. What up, guys?
So we'll get in all that. Let's react to this Sunday night game. We're recording this right after the game has just wrapped up. 37 seconds left. Packers, no timeouts. Couple big throws. Mason Crosby sends them home with a victory in San Francisco. Kinger, feeling good?
Feeling great. What a roller coaster of emotions, though, that game was. That last drive that San Francisco put together, you just kind of felt inevitable that that they were going to end up scoring a touchdown. And, all you could help think about, or all you were thinking about, was how much time is going to be left on that clock. The Niners on that last touchdown drive that they had there to score late in the fourth quarter had a couple really nice plays, getting out of 2/3 long situations. George Kittle's an absolute monster. It's something that we've known for a long time, but it seemed like every time he got the ball tonight, he was just running through Packers defenders. I think he had 7 or 8 catches and 90 plus receiving yards tonight. That catch by Debo there on third down against Jair, and just absolute blanket coverage. Jair had his hand in there on that reception. I thought for sure that was just going to signal that, the Niners are going to win that game. A few plays later, obviously they throw the little slant route to Juszczyk, the fullback, who gets in the end zone with 37 seconds left. Remy and I were talking about this previously before we got on, and if he goes down at that 1 yard line, I think the Niners run another play or two and it's game over, and they're walking out of there with that win tonight. But nope, you left 37 seconds on the clock. You gave it to the baddest man in football. The Niners have a couple soft coverages, leave Devontae wide open on back-to-back plays, and then just absolute nails.
The only guy
Mason
you know
Crosby.
He's going to throw to. Everybody
Absolutely.
in the building knows he's throwing to him.
And then just absolute nails by Mason Crosby. I think it's 21. I think that was his 21st made field goal in a row, almost approaching his record all time that he already holds in Green Bay. What a fucking football game. What a football game.
I mean, how do you guys feel, Vikings and Bears, Barney and Remy? And because if the Packers lose, then it's still a 3-way tie for first in the division, and then, the lowly Lions. So in theory.
I texted the group right when Juszczyk scored. I said there's too much time on the clock, and I mean, I saw that happen. Whether it's an Aaron Rodgers drive or a Matt Stafford drive, I've seen that kind of stuff. Not as a Bears fan, but inside the division for a long time.
I was actually pretty I was confident in San Francisco, but when you just leave it, I was surprised that they didn't really let anything in front of them. They gave up those long strides, and they
just
should know
soft
out of
zones.
anyone.
They were playing the sideline on that
What are
last
you
drive and
doing?
left the middle wide open deep.
Yep.
And I was fully confident that San Francisco had this game won. George Kittle would have walked off and smiling, and us Viking fans and Bear fans would be smiling. But no, the Packers, like I said, it's very rare that the whole division loses and one team can win and get ahead, because if the Packers win and they win next week, they're always going to be a game up, and now you always have to make sure if you're an NFC North team, you have to win your games, because it's going to come down to who wins the division for a potential playoff spot down the line. So I was confident and my heart got broken, but I'm pumped because both my fantasy teams have won and the Minnesota Vikings won, so I'm pumped about that, but really disappointed of the Niners defense there at the end.
Breaking news. If we want to win the division, you have to win games.
No, would you guys got to agree, though? That was a very entertaining football game tonight. And
these Sunday night games they've been getting, wow, they've really looked out so far. The first
they've been great. And I want to make a few more comments about the game. Overall, I think the officiating was pretty horrendous on both sides tonight. I think a couple of those pass
we'll talk about some officiating later.
Well, I just want to say, a couple of those pass interferences I think that the Niners got early in the game were a little soft, a little ticky-tack, and then Green Bay themselves had a couple tonight that the helmet-to-helmet contact on Devontae was absolutely egregious.
Terrible. I thought he was going to be out for the game.
Yeah, very poorly officiated game. But, a couple points I want to make is I don't think anybody expected the start that we had. Green Bay up 17-0. They were a 4th and 1, 4th and 2 conversion inside the 5 of potentially being up more. Rodgers started this game just like out of lightning out of a bottle, right? I think he was 9 for 9, 127 yards and a touchdown in the first quarter. Just absolutely lightning. And the Green Bay offensive line, outside of that first draft, we had Big Elgton Jenkins didn't play tonight, so we had to do some shuffling on the offensive line. We ended up keeping Turner at right tackle. I thought there was potential we were going to move him to left and bring in Dennis Kelly. But we actually kept Turner out at right tackle, and we brought in our second-year undrafted, or I think he's undrafted, or fifth-round rookie, Josh Nijman, out of Virginia Tech. And Bosa lit him up on the first drive, and it looked like it was going to be in for a long night. But that man stepped up and played very solid football. Being down to our third tackle, I was very impressed with him. Our other rookies, Myers and Newman, I'm sorry, I say that every single time, played fantastic on the offensive line tonight. You got to give them a lot of credit. That we were getting the ball out quick, and we had a lot of design plays to get the ball out of Rodgers' hand in the first 2.5 seconds. But that offensive line was spectacular. The defense stepped up tonight. I was actually very impressed with Joe Barry tonight. Obviously, the game ended up allowing 28 points, but you take away that bullshit special teams play in the end of the first half to really keep the Niners in it. And I think for the most part, the defense played very solid tonight. It's huge for us to continue to get that pass rush because I do think our secondary is very good, but just need to continue to put pressure on the quarterback. And luckily, Garoppolo made a few mistakes. So I think that's a huge momentum-saving win for Green Bay. I think they deserve to win that football game tonight. They came out on top. Rodgers played great, and I'm feeling great right now. That was a ton of fun to watch, and I'm very energetic here late on this Sunday night.
And who's that linebacker that you guys, Campbell?
Devondre Campbell.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty well for you.
Yeah, he's been playing well. Exactly. Since the second half of that Lions game last week, he's flying. They said tonight 4.58 speed. If he can shore up tackles and continue to get himself in the mix, he's a big asset for us on the defensive side. So defense looked a lot better tonight, which since the second half of that Lions game is a very good positive trend.
And this might not be the last time the Packers see the 49ers potentially, Kinger. I can see this being a playoff matchup later on for sure.
For sure. And
yeah, maybe wild card.
One of those, that Monday night game that they moved one of the games to? How stupid is that? Why did they move one of the playoff games to Monday night? I don't understand.
It's about the primetime slots. You know that.
Yeah, I know, but like they had Saturday and Sunday for a reason because then no disadvantage the following week. So I don't understand what's going on there.
Yep.
Exactly.
But all three of you guys took the Niners tonight. My Packers came out on top. So I just want to make that comment as well. I was very happy and just wanted to reference that one.
I did bet on the Packers to cover though. So
okay. All right. Well, you made a little bit of money then. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there in my closing remarks.
Absolutely. All right. So the Packers, moved 2-1. They're first place in the division now, all alone. Now I know, and Kinger, I said you mentioned the refereeing. Well, I'm going to get to that moment. Let's move to my Lions game where the Lions, first of all, you guys had your best bets as the Ravens covering, and they did not. They shouldn't have won this game. The Lions battled. They battled hard this whole game. The defense really stepped up, and that came out of nowhere considering the first two performances of the year, limiting the run game. Lamar Jackson looked okay. 287 yards passing, but a lot of those on the last drive. Oh, the last drive. I've said it before, but the Lions just find new ways to lose, and this was the most inventive, most historic of them all, potentially on a 66-yard field goal. Oh, just a tough pill to swallow. Losing on a kick like that. Justin Tucker, they showed the highlight during the game. They showed it after. Where on the Monday night game a few years ago, he had a 62-yarder to beat us as time expired, or 61. And this time he backed it up 5 yards and hit the damn crossbar and went over. I mean, were you guys watching this game? Did you think he was going to make that kick?
I did.
As a Lions fan, I knew he was going in.
It's Justin Tucker.
I mean, 66
I thought it was 50-50.
yards.
The fact that it bounced, I think we all were kind of like, oh, which way is it going to go? Because of the way the television was. But the fact that it had that momentum going backwards, it was just like a bounce and then in, like sort of like a basketball hoop or something. And it was just, it was crazy. What a way to set the record.
Yeah, this is another game, too, where the Lions win the game if the refs don't make a blatantly delay a game penalty. Like, it was blatant. Every former NFL referee that works in the network said it was a delay a game. Everybody said it was delay a game. Even the announcer was calling it out as it was going on. No, and the only guy that didn't know, I guess, is the back judge on the field. So the Lions will probably get an apology tomorrow, but it won't change the outcome of the game. We've heard same old story for the Lions, unfortunately. In terms of the refereeing screwing us over in a game-determining call. But nonetheless, maybe with the Lions' luck, they catch the Hail Mary instead. But as far as the rest of this game goes, I don't know why it took so long to get DeAndre Swift involved. But when they got him involved in the third and fourth quarter, it's completely turned this offense around. Jared Goff continues to throw his best to the running backs and tight end. I don't know if that speaks to the wide receivers we have on the team right now or the scheme. I would lean towards probably the wide receivers being bad because this is universally seen as the worst wide receivers group of wide receivers in the NFL, and right now it's kind of proven itself out by the way we distribute the ball. These are our leading receivers. Khalif Raven is a wide receiver, 6'8", but then Swift, Darren Fells, Jamal Williams, T.J. Hawkinson after that, and then no receiver with over 10 yards receiving after that. So and that's out of 217 passing yards. Brutal. We averaged, 4 yards a carry in this game. The Lions continue to run the ball well, but they keep getting behind early. Like, the offense was blanked in the first half of this game. So, it's one thing or the other. The Lions not put it together, but they're taking another step forward. The first game, big second half, bad first half. Second game, great first half, bad second half. This game, should have won, lost on a historically long field goal. So I feel like next week against the Bears is where it's really all going to come together, Barney. I'm sorry to say.
I have a take, Big Z, that you might not like, but
Yep, go for it. Sure.
I think if Hollywood Brown doesn't have two blatant drops in the first half, it's a completely different ball game. I know he had not one, but two touchdown passes that he dropped, and I think
touchdown passes
that would have buried the Lions. I'm a little salty.
It's one touchdown you're talking about. Same drive he dropped it on.
I thought it was the drive before that. It was the same drive.
We might have to check that one.
Yeah,
And then another one got tipped. Another one got tipped, so it wasn't necessarily a draft because the ball kind of changed.
I am salty
there was
that they prevented me from going 3-0 in my picks this week, but I think it's a different ball game if team ends up at the line, if the Ravens score another touchdown there in the first half.
Actually, I do think you're right. I think he dropped two on one drive and then dropped one in the end zone later on as well. So I think it was three in this game, but one of them was tipped a little bit. But yes, you're right. We did get help from him dropping the ball, but I mean, there's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas in terms of that throughout any game. So I don't know. But as far as
only count yours.
but as far as the Lions being on their fourth string cornerback who's an undrafted free agent, I thought he played really well. Bobby Price, I thought he stepped up and played. He did get burned those couple times, and they did go for drops, but he also covered Watkins on a deep pass down the field. Reed knocked it out of Brown's hands another time deep down the field. So, I mean, it was as good as far as, being on your fourth string at quarterback going against number one wide receiver of the Ravens. But the big story for me was limiting the Ravens to 116 rush yards, which I thought was a big victory for this defense because we saw what they did to the Chiefs last week, even the Raiders the week before. So I thought that was really good. And I mean, holding the Ravens to 19 points, we should win that game. Holding a team to 20 or less, The Lions should be winning that game. It pains me that the Lions, the offense just stunk it up in the first half. But one more thing about this Lions team and some of the bad coaching decisions that went on at the end of this game. First of all, the Lions get the ball in the red zone, and the Ravens have timeouts, but then the Lions just hand it off 3 times and settle for a field goal, go-ahead field goal, and the Ravens still would get the ball with a minute left, no timeouts. But I hate that. Playing to not lose is the way you do lose, and the Lions end up losing because they settle for a field goal. If they get a touchdown there, the Ravens have to go for a touchdown, and it also would maybe milk off more time. So I didn't like that, and I really, really, really hate rushing 3 defenders on a 4th and long and giving Lamar Jackson pretty much all day to throw the ball. That never works. It never works, and it frustrates the hell out of me. You see it all the time where giving these teams too much time. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And
nobody's seen more of the 3-man rushes than me in Green Bay. That was the staple of the Green Bay defense. I know exactly the feeling, Big Z.
You got to rush 4. You got to rush 4. You have to do it. Even if it's a rush 3 and a linebacker kind of sits there and sees where a hole is and rushes on a delayed blitz, you just can't make them feel comfortable back there. So really frustrating. I mean, but this Lions team continues to fight, which is what you want to see at least out of a Dan Campbell coach team. They definitely still lack personnel, but it was good to see Derek Barnes out there. Finally, Jamie Collins not being out there, big difference for our defense. So I look forward to what we can do going forward. But yes, very, very frustrating. But the Lions find a new and inventive way to lose. Add that one to the long list. Let's move on now to a team that had a probably a worse day than the Lions, perhaps. Barney, that was one of the uglier games I've watched this year. I don't know. What do you think about the Bears' performance today?
Well, the Bears averaged 1.1 yard per play versus the Browns, which is the second fewest by any team in a game this century.
Jimmy Graham retweeted that.
I'm glad he did. I mean, by all accounts, this was a productive day because I think we're just one step closer, and I don't know how long this journey is with the fucking McCaskies because they don't understand how to, give a shit for this team. But, Nagy's just, he's got to go. He's got to go ASAP. And I don't understand, the guy was brought in to run an offense. And we after 3-4 years, we don't have a fucking offense still. He's ranked at the bottom of the fucking league every year. And yet he still has a job. I don't understand what he provides for this team. We had 4 first downs. 4 first downs all day. We have 47 total yards. Oh my God. It's so pathetic. It's scheduled disappointment. Every Sunday, I got to come and watch a dog shit performance out there. And, I got to stare at that bald fuck. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Most people, when they have a brand new quarterback playing, correct me if I'm wrong, but most teams say, hey, let's get them out there early, a couple really easy, quick throws and try to get some momentum. That's basically how all coordinators think. Not Nagy. Nagy bees himself. He had attempted his second pass, Justin Fields, his second pass of the game in the second quarter with 5 minutes left in the half. How does this guy still have a fucking job? I don't understand. I don't. It's 3-3 up until, the Browns went to Hooper in the last 2 minutes or whatever of the first half. It really was a tight game. The defense played great. We got absolutely outshadowed by an absolutely dominant Browns defense. right? But I mean, the Bears had a great defensive, day. They had 5 sacks, I think like 10 QB hits. I'll take that every week. But we got outshadowed by 9 sacks and 15 QB hits. Dude, I mean, you would think, guys, that if Justin Fields was complete or made his second pass attempt with that little time left in the second or in the second quarter, you would think, oh, they must have been running the ball. In the entire game, we have 13 carries as a team. This fucking team is just fucking terrible. Like, I mean, Nagy is, I do not understand any of this. I really don't. And then when he's gift wrapped, the best play of the game was when Justin Fields was able to scramble and keep a play alive, and he tried hitting Mooney deep, and it was like a 50-yard heave. The best play of the game for the Bears was a pass interference on like the 5-yard line. Our offensive guru can't get in the end zone from the 5-yard line, but it's 4th down and 2. And we haven't gotten a first down basically at that point in the entire game. And this is like the 3rd quarter. And he decides to kick a field goal. And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, dude, when are you going to get this chance to like get in the end zone? I mean, this is pathetic. I wanted to just beat the living shit out of Matt Nagy. That's what I want to do all day today.
I mean, who would you blame? I know Nagy hasn't, it hasn't been good. It hasn't been pretty, but I think Ryan Pace and this offensive line and just this offseason, we've talked about it too, like especially the left tackle position. They kind of put all their eggs in the Tevin Jenkins basket, it seemed. A guy with a history of back problems and a second-round rookie.
He has a back problem.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when that didn't work out, their best move was finding Jason Peters, who looks like, a guy that was nobody else in the NFL was looking to sign.
Oh my God. And we saw it today. I mean, how many, who leaves people like Myles Garrett untouched, not once, but like 3 different times? Like, dude, no, he is like focus point A. You got to that is who you got to, no matter what. But I don't know. I mean, but you're right. If you want to pass some blame off to Pace, absolutely. I mean, our offensive line got absolutely dominated, and that's because they refused to believe that O-line play is important. And I just I don't know. I don't understand it. I think it's maybe because we're all just used to watching dog shit offenses that it's just something that we don't really give a shit about anymore. I mean, I don't know. It was the most pathetic display of, I mean, just trotting out your brand new quarterback where you got guys like Dwayne Wade and like, I don't mean to be bringing up like other people, but I mean, this city was pretty hyped online, doing everything. This is Justin Fields Day. We're all excited to watch him. And then, we get absolutely just boat raced on every offensive play in the game. It was pathetic.
I just went through I caught at the very end I caught like the last 2 minutes of the second half and on of this Bears game today. And it was, didn't necessarily have, or second quarter and on in this Bears game today. And it didn't necessarily have my full attention, but I was just going back, looking at some of the stats here. The Bears ran 17 plays in the first half total. That's not a single drive was over 5 plays. They had 3 and outs. It's just, I mean, like you said, Barney, trying to get your rookie quarterback, make it as easy on him as possible. I mean, I know the O-line had a lot of issues, but I just don't know what everybody's not seeing within that Bears organization, that it seems everybody outside, the fans, the analysts, everybody outside of that locker room and organization sees that it's Matt Nagy's problem.
Unfortunately, what it is, and this, guys, this is a dark day for me. This brought me back to the day after the Bears-Saints playoff loss, and they retained, Nagy and Pace, and I knew nothing was gonna fucking change. And here we go again, dude. I mean, I don't know. It's shit. Like, I feel so bad for Bears fans just literally watching this shit. Because here's the thing: losing a game is, I mean, that can happen any given Sunday. I don't care who you are. the Lions are out there 0-3, and their games are at least fun to watch. They're at least fun to watch. And like I will take the most, bare minimum enjoyment out of a game and rework it in my brain and say, oh, that was great. Like just because there is just nothing to ever really be thrilled about on an offensive side. But I can't even lie to myself like on a day like today. I don't know. It just that was so fucking bad. And unfortunately, the entire McCaskey family, the ones that really cared about this team, they're either gone or, well, yeah, they're gone. And the ones that are in control of this are a bunch of nerds who couldn't give a fuck. And they think Ted Phillips is a nice guy, and so is Ryan Pace, and Matt Nagy's really nice too and charismatic. So we're going to keep him around for another year at least, because we don't want to be mean and do what's best for this team. We want to have friends over here, even though we'll suck. I don't know.
Are you missing the Mark Trestman days now?
that was pretty fucking bad. But I don't get it, man. It was so, I mean, whatever. The game absolutely got blown out of proportion. It was pretty. I mean, it was a 1-score game for most of the entire game, but I don't know. It's just, you could just tell the Bears never stood a chance. We had an average, Justin Fields had an average of 0.78 seconds to throw the ball.
Insane.
Before getting hit. Like, I don't even know how a defender gets to somebody less than a second. like even if there's no lineman, even if there's no lineman in front of like the quarterback, I feel like it would still take more than a second to get to Justin Fields. But I don't know. I mean, that was just crazy. I'm happy to stop talking about this game if you.
But so Barney, just in case you're curious, 14 is the record for most sacks by a single team in a single game, set by Philadelphia against the Giants in 1952. Otherwise, 12 is the record in more recent in the Super Bowl era, and that's been done 7 times by 5 teams, including 3 times by the Bears. So I was just looking that up during that game, because I was just curious what the if we were trying to, if the Browns were going for some sort of record, because it felt like it when I was watching. But let's move on now to the last game. That, of course, is your Vikings, Remy, getting in that W. No close game to screw up at the end here for you. Nice clean victory. I actually texted during the game because the Seahawks scored those first quick 17 points. I was kind of dogging your defense because I bet on the Vikings. I wanted them to pull it out for my wallet at the very least. And then after that, they didn't give up a single point. I thought that was kind of funny. But, what are your feelings? The first home game for the Vikings.
So it's bringing me back to the good old days where, you have the home field advantage. We saw that help many times. Very impressed. Obviously, for those who don't know, Minnesota defeats the Seahawks by 30 on a score of 30-17. Seattle came out and scored first. It was a back and forth. We knew that, you had to be the one to get the ball and score each time, and each possession was going to be valuable. Now, let me just list off some stats here real quick. Kirk Cousins, 30 for 38, 323 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. On the year, he's got 918 yards, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions, with a QBR of 118 and a 73% completion rating. The Vikings go into this game without Dalvin Cook, without Anthony Barr, and without Christian Darrisaw. In his place, Alexander Mattison put up 171 all-purpose yards, 112 on the ground. I think he played tremendous backing up Cook. He plays just like Cook. He's a little bigger. Jefferson had 118 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Conklin, 70 yards and a touchdown. And Adam Thielen, a touchdown. On the season, that makes Adam Thielen 181 yards and 4 touchdowns. Greg Joseph, too, our kicker, redeems himself and puts up 12 points today. Those 12 points are huge because, that if there's no 12 points or he misses these field goals, Seattle could very well have came back and shifted momentum. Brian O'Neill today has not allowed a pressure, and I believe the stat is this season Brian O'Neill has not yet allowed a pressure in 126 pass blocks. So the right tackle, second highest paid right tackle, is earning his money. When Kirk's kept up clean, he can make good things happen. We have Cleveland at home the next week, followed by the Lions at home. So 2 home games and then our bye week. Expect Anthony Barr to be back to hopefully keep this defense momentum going. Like you said, Big Z, no points allowed in the second half. That was huge. I said this a couple of years ago, the Vikings are a second half team. And, if we can come out and keep playing like that, I think we can beat a lot of pretty good teams in the league. I know nobody really picked Minnesota on this one, and kind of questions our defense after seeing today and Russell Wilson. Where does the Vikings kind of stand? Are we more underrated? Is Kirk Cousins more now underrated than he was overrated?
No.
Is this a contract year for Kirk Cousins?
I believe they have one more year.
Do they?
With it, I believe so. I'm not too sure on that, to be honest. I don't think this is his last year.
He's playing like it's a contract year, that's for sure.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. I think he has an option of 2022.
He looks really good. He looks really good so far this year. He looks really comfortable back there.
With a clean pocket.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like any quarterback, unlike Justin Fields,
So I think it is just, you're going to have to continue to ride with that defense, right? Cousins definitely has looked pretty good this year. O'Neill has been one of the best signings in football, I think. He's an absolute monster right tackle. You definitely have a top 3 to 5 right tackle in the league right there. And if they do give Cousins time, he has the weapons up there, and he's shown that he can be productive still this year. Defense, again, you just got to wait and see. I still have a lot of questions on those on the secondary in Minnesota, but today was a big win, and I thought it was going to happen. And to shut down Russell Wilson, like Barney talked about in the last week episode, he doesn't lose 2 games too often. So that was a nice win today. I'll give them credit. They took care of business at home, and they look good doing it.
No Dalvin Cook, no problem, right, Remy? Madison stepped up.
Exactly. Sources, were indicating that he may play, and Zimmer said, he has to really be hurt. But I think, it's a precautionary thing. Dalvin should be practicing next week. It'll be interesting to see people come off the injury report. I'm hoping nobody is just randomly added, because I think if the Vikings can get guys healthy and back right now and start a run, go into their bye week and come back out and really start getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have the Browns next week, right?
Yep.
So that'll be a good test for your offensive line, for sure, with their D-line that they have. At least Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and Kirk he is on the books, shout out Kid J, for $45 million next year, according to Spot Track. So we'll see if the Vikings, continue to go with them. $45 million is a lot. Let's see what happens this year, boys. We got, like you said, we got 17 weeks, and starting 0-2 wasn't the thing we wanted to do, but getting a win today against a pretty difficult team who we struggled to win against feels really good for everybody in Minnesota.
Yep, absolutely. So the Packers lead the division at 2-1. The Bears and Vikings tied at 1-2, and the Lions in an unfortunately all too familiar spot in last place in the NFC North at 0-3. The Packers play at 3:25 next Sunday against the Steelers. Vikings hosting the Browns, and then the Lions will be traveling to Chicago. So another NFC North game, and that game will be at noon as well on Sunday. But gentlemen, I think that's going to wrap up our Week 3 recap and reactions here. Crazy day. Good, bad, and ugly. That is for certain. But Instagram at The Pylon. Please follow us on there. Twitter at The Pylon Pod. Give us all your reactions to all the crazy stuff that happened on this past Sunday and your thoughts for the upcoming week. Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, please download, please subscribe. Really appreciate that as well, and leave a review. Otherwise, thank you to our producer, Kid J, for producing the pod. And otherwise, gentlemen, it's Sunday night. Have a great start to the rest of your week. Listeners, have a great start to the rest of the week. We'll be back later this week, of course, with Week 4 preview and our best bets. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a great night.
Fire that bald fucking idiot.